Hello everyone, hope you have a great day. Welcome to the second part of my Sombra video, where we will compare how Sombra plays in Overwatch 1 and 2. So in the first part we have discussed how her abilities changed mostly, and in this part we will take a look at how Sombra would have been played in Overwatch 1 across the several levels of gameplay. So the idea is that I explained how to play Sombra in Overwatch 1 in 3 different stages. The first stage is for beginners. When you start out, you have never played Sombra before, you're starting Sombra in Overwatch 1, maybe it's preparation for Overwatch 2, and you basically somewhere ranked between bronze and high gold, low plat, somewhere in this area. And this of course focuses mostly on your personal gameplay, like you don't have too much team play, a little bit of collective based stuff, a little bit team play, but really not much. You focus on your own personal skills. Then for stage 2, this is between low plat and basically high diamond, maybe going into masters, depending on what the current meta is. And so this stage is if you have already played Overwatch 1 for quite some time, you have already a lot of experience, even experience in playing Sombra. And here in this stage, you have some sort of a team play, but you can still abuse the fact that you can get mechanics stronger than your teammates, so you still have some intermediate level between your own skills and applying the skills with your team. And then lastly for stage 3, this is from Masters and above. The game is, I consider the game to be played kind of on one of the highest levels, kind of. I know it's not Grandmaster, but Master, but still you should expect some team play, you should focus your team play, you should orient around your team, and you should know all basics. You should know how your character works, how team play works, how dive works, how composition works, how each map works. All this knowledge you should have and played and trained for quite some time. And this is for stage 3, basically going from Masters up to Infinity. I shortly wanted to add a short intermission that of course I explained how Sombra is learned in Overwatch 1 compared to how she is learned in Overwatch 2, which is of course completely based on my personal experience, how I learned her, what tips I gave on Reddit, how I see other people learn Sombra. But of course, if you are a Sombra main already and you have played her for thousands of hours, because she's a very fun character in Overwatch 1, and now you transition to Overwatch 2, of course you can just skip this Overwatch 1 part because you have already learned Sombra. So here we are in the game of Overwatch 1. We will be playing as Sombra. I will shortly explain I think what the first thing is I would do if I would have learned Sombra in Overwatch 1. So we can compare it later how it looks like in Overwatch 2. And this is my first stage of skill as Sombra. Like the first thing I think you should train yourself to do if you would have started playing Sombra in Overwatch 1. And this will compare to Overwatch 2. So here we are on our first match. So the goal for a new Sombra, what I would say, what you should learn as Sombra first is be behind the enemy team, find out where the aspects are, where the vantage points are, which are points you can attack good, and also which targets you can actually attack, and what are the criteria you need to actually assassinate a target through as Sombra. Sombra is a little bit weaker than other DPS in Overwatch 1, so you need setup and ambush, and you need to learn basically where are the hidden health packs on this map, where are advantage points like high ground, and you also will learn when are the timing points, like if the enemy team wants to go through this choke, what is the best timing to start attacking the backline. So for example, you can set up the translocator on this corner, no one ever plays back there, and I can set this one up quite easily. I will hack the suspect, go left side, and attack the enemy backline. What I will not do is set up hacks for my team to get kills. What I also not do is focus on charging my EMP. My EMP comes ready when it comes ready. I don't care too much. We hear again where we decide to run around and start shooting the enemies. The complete enemy team focuses me, so we get out. And we see low targets, so we start to take them out. I drop to low ground to get the health pack. They continue to stay low. And we have a very fast rotation here. Now I need to be careful because they might know where I am. And we need to reposition our translocator. They should know where I am. So we just get out. And now we can wait since our team is not fully engaged. Zarya sabotaging us with this lovely bubble. Taking us out of the rotation, which is really unfortunate. This is another spot no one ever checks. In this spot you really just need to find on the map where are points where enemies have problems finding you. Or like this roof. Like the Anna, so she doesn't sleep dot or antinate. But we lose this one-on-one. So here I can learn this is one-on-one. I should have been able to win. But I lost because of poor mechanics. Basically I was too scared. Yeah, but this is how we want to play. We want just to try to minimize our downtime, go in, fight and fight and fight and fight. And attack targets that are easy to kill for now. Now we cannot be set behind enemy team since we just came back from spawn. But we can start working on it. As our team manages to hold the first point. The only exception I would make is when we start getting our EMP, I will want to kind of have somewhat an useful EMP when I have it. I don't focus charging it right now, so it's a very slow charge right now, but that is fine in the beginning. Don't stress your charging time for EMP. It will improve as you improve your mechanics to headshot, basically. Risky because we were low and could have get shotted. But this will be enough to win the teamfight, so I do not stress over going there too much. And we killed the main tanks, they are EMP'd, my team's going in. Attack the Genji and try to delay them. One the low HP Hanzo. Anna sitting on us, watching us sleep is perfect for us. And here we go for again another setup. We will take a little bit more setup time now, since again we're starting from spawn. They have Winston ult. Get the Genji off point. Yeah, we did not manage to get the setup behind them, but we're working on it now. But we need to kind of hack the Raging Monkey. We don't have time to heal up, we go back in. Just rely on our healers, and now we go on the Anna, which is up there alone. We hack her. And we try to one-on-one her. Try to use fancy tricks if you can, but you don't have to, like potting above, trying to shoot headshot while falling down. And that's all. You don't care about winning the teamfight or anything, you just care about fighting this one-on-one versus this Anna. And that is all you want to do. Don't be sad if you lose the one-on-one versus Anna. Anna with both cooldowns can take down every single DPS in-game. With 5 HP, but we still want to shoot. Okay, now we can one-on-one the Hanzo. No point in hacking, since he used his ability already. Not sure. Wow. He outsmarted me with his movement, but this is something I'm just learning, that is fine. Me with Lucius is getting low, and focus on beaming down the Hanzo. And this is perfectly fine for us. As long as they are killing us, but they are not on point, we don't even care. They are losing the game right now. They are wasting their time. We don't need to stress this. And this is a typical situation in lower ranks. If you have this team fight type, the deathmatch, team deathmatch type of fights, where enemies come just trickling in and you just trickling out of your spawn, and they cannot be on spawn or get an advantage because they never group up. And that is something that Sombra really does not need to be good at, grouping up. You can basically play your own game, and this is one of, I would say, one of the advantages she has. You can just go in and do stuff on your own. Oh man, cancel every single hack. I'm bad. Especially on this point, you will learn that you have 4 high grounds you can rotate around. One-on-one, something, hack this area, it's pointless, but it doesn't matter. Now we have to be a little bit careful, but they are only 2 on point, so we don't care too much. And we rotate up here and can shoot it from the back. No point in hacking that, but of course we can hack the Genji, so he cries. And we can go for one on the Anna. If you die, it doesn't matter. And now we have an advantage. We can actually go and one-on-one the Anna in spawn. And we die again to this Anna. Man, we are bad. But that's fine. That's a part of the learning process. This Anna hits all 3 shots. If Anna hits all 3 shots, he has more DPS than you as Sombra. But of course, you as hitscan should have an easier time hitting your shots. Oh, but as I said, it doesn't really matter. We try to rotate around. There's an Anna. We can 1-on-1. So we 1-on-1 the Anna. We go to point and EP. Hack the soldier and we can keep the point a little bit longer. And we hold on the second point with 42.3%. That's totally fine. We get gold eliminations because we were mostly focused on killing stuff. And that is something you can also sprinkle in your training. So decide fast what you attack every time you translocate out. So don't tunnel vision on the Anna because you decided once to attack her. But you fight the Anna and you see the Pharah goes low, the Gantry dashes in with his ult, you can hack him. Your translocator is on a good position to hack the Lucy out of the air. Just go for a different target. You don't need to finish your 1-on-1s. That's not important. Important is that you go for the 1-on-1s so you train your mechanics. It's important that you use your translocator very fast, very efficient. It's a very needed skill for Sombra that you use. That you don't have the least amount of downtime. You need to rotate around, health pack, around enemies, around your healers. Just always rotate around so that you shoot. You need to make up for the lack of Sombra's burst damage by just constantly putting bullets into something. It doesn't matter what. Hopefully it's not a shield, but hopefully an enemy, but just shoot something. Preferably something without armor, preferably something that cannot deflect. Preferably from a range where you cannot get flashbanged. But you know, attacking a Kree and then flashing out, porting out because you use flashbang is fine. You went in, you did something, he used ability, you get out. It's the same as a hack because you removed his ability. And now we do the same on attack. So we don't go in with our team, we want to go on our own vantage point. On this map specifically I do like a spy check in the beginning, right corner, left corner, no one here. And we go through top. There is an Anna, which we can 1-on-1. Nade it herself, this is fine. And we start shooting her, and you see how low her team went, because we just attacked her, they had no main heal for the longest time, and so go down very easily. So and you kind of don't get team play by timing it perfectly with your team. I went first, but you get team play by just being there constantly. Like you just want to have no downtime with the things you do. I ran straight to the ball, so there's no point staying hidden, so I will just charge my EMP and die to a nade. Because the teamfight is lost, we lost our Mercy, and we can 1-on-1 the soldier on point. We lose, we go out. Soldier used his suspect stuff. He runs for health. Like the Hawk. MP the Hawk. Get pot out so we can actually 1-on-1 stuff. Rotate, we also start beaming the Anna from range. Oh, but we get hooked from point since our team is dead. That's totally fine. And hopefully the game stops bugging out, and again we just go in, look for target. If you see your team is down, you can also just set up first, hack later. We hear the Clunkret, we hear ball running around. In this case we just go to point, wait for them to drop. And unlucky that exactly our target got hacked, target was shooting. They go down with a lot of ults, rehack the Hawk so he cannot hook our team and keep charging our ult on his fat body. Of course, Clunkret is a good 1-on-1 target. Our main target dropped down. And you see in this position, they just don't like to check. I want to hack that, but I'm too stupid. We will MP this. As our teammate goes in, we can eliminate their Ana. Rehack Lung, so he cannot riptire us. Translocator on high ground, so we can rotate, and we win the game. GG. Yeah, so that's what I would try to learn first if you're starting new as Sombra. I think it will teach you a lot of valuable skills, like being very efficient with your translocator, being in fight, knowing the map, know all rotations on high ground, knowing the health packs, and also finding out which targets you want to attack from which distance, what cooldowns they have, how you can dodge the cooldowns with the translocator. Yeah, and this is basically one of the things I would train first. Stage 1 of learning Sombra, learning the assassinations, which is basically from bronze to gold, to mid gold, to high gold, and somewhere around, I think, higher-ish gold to plat, to diamond, to higher diamond. We will go to stage 2, and I think this is what you should train in stage 2. Okay, here we go for round 2 of Sombra. Stage 2, this is mostly when your enemies have learned how to fend for themselves, they position better, they peel better for each other, they have some sort of voice communication, some of team play. DPS actually can turn around and help your Ana, their Ana, of course not your Ana, but their Ana. So you really cannot just kill stuff as easily anymore, and they will punish you far faster, which means you can't stay in fight as long anymore, which means that you will get out of sync with your team quite fast, which means you attack before your team, but then they punish you out, you need to translocate out, but your team pushes in, which means your team is 5 versus 6 in that moment, and you've just lost the game. And if these things start to happen, which should be around low plat or high gold, sometimes even a little bit higher plat, depending on what the current meta is, then you need to start incorporating the stage 2 techniques, which will mostly be coordinating stuff with your team, hacking targets that your teammates can kill, waiting a little bit longer before you reveal yourself and set up a little bit longer, but then have higher effect on the actual team fight. Of course, you need to keep the lessons you learned from before, so if you see a solo Ana you can kill, a solo Kree which is too far away that you can kill, you still need to punish them, so to force them to actively counter you. You cannot just allow them to, don't just play this automatically, but you really need to force the enemies to make you play this game mode. And so we know the Roadhog wants to hook. So as soon as we see they are fighting, we go from the back. And so we start capping the point. We fail the kill on the Echo because we were sleeping, but we are now just attacking, hacking targets that are not directly killable by us. But now we deny the hook on Roadhog, for example, deny kills for him, and try to fight just with our team. Whatever my team is targeting, we want to target as well. Or kind of stage an assassination. And just fight more with our team, not be bound to be behind the enemies. But of course here started to be frontlining right away. And of course in your games you should still try to incorporate stage 1 games. And only switch to this playstyle if the enemies force you to. This is just best for your learning process. There's nothing to do with what is better later in gameplay, but it's just for what you want to learn now. And so you see, it doesn't matter so much what I hack, what I attack. It's just that I want to keep, to get some form of value, but with the right timing with my team together. No, this is so unlucky. She was 1 centimeter outside of my range. I don't know if they saw that. They might have. Oh. Go help our Clunkerhead as the monkey overextends. And this is something you can also just do, just punish people for stuff. We don't want to hack the health pack, we want to hack the monkey. And the teamfight is lost. But they are wasting ults for that one, that is fine. So we just want to charge our ult with it. And we fall off the map. Unfortunate. RIP! Oh well, but it doesn't matter, as I said. Since we are regrouping phase anyway now, which my team lacks a little bit of skill for, they just still go in and die for no reason. And so, since we have time now, we stage up for an assassination attempt. Or just a C9. And we just time it with our team. So the enemies are now split between running back. And we get headshot by Hanzo as we were a little bit frontlining after our MP. Honestly, didn't expect Moraine to just shield push forward slowly. But in general, I think my timing wasn't too bad. My team was on the Roadhog and Ryan was in the position to do something at some moment, so it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too good as well. That's how it is, but we pushed through second point. So we can just set up again. I like to set up on the stairs. Randomly attack a Mercy from behind. Just to scare them. Make them remember that they need to take care of their backline. They cannot do what they want. I have no idea why I hacked the Hanzo, it was completely wasted. And as our translator gets destroyed, we get taken out. Again, as our team is pushing up, so we're a little bit too fast right now. Our team cannot keep up with the speed I'm forcing them to do. And so I'm leaving my team in a 5 vs 6, which is bad. Try to avoid these things, try to play a little bit more cool. You are literally invisible, you have infinite time to set up. So now I can think, oh, hacking Sigma might be fine, hacking Echo might be fine. Baptiste is not too good, but denies the lamp. Tries to get this far back. We need to use it to just get back into the fight. So Ryan goes down. We get focused down, but it's in the kill feed. We were timed to right with Zarya, which means the enemy Mercy and Echo both were bound, and maybe the Sigma as well turned around, while my team was pushing in the front, and which means my team had a short period of a 5 vs 3, and that's exactly what you want to achieve. Short periods of team advantage for your team, which they can kind of panic a little bit, as again I would wish my Ryan would push a little bit further forward. He really does not want to engage at all, which is a little bit unfortunate for us, so we need to suicide a little bit more than we would like to, just to get into hack range for the Sigma, for this MP. But again, you cannot expect perfect team play if you don't play perfectly yourself, right? Of course he will die late, we'll try to use this time to set up on health packs and stuff. Or get some ult charge. Just remember them, we are here. We are allowed to take a little bit of damage, as we hope we will not get poked out here. Echo knows exactly where we are. It's watching us right now. And we really try to deny Hawk's hook. He overextended to hook something. Our team is dead again, so we just charge ult. We can take this shot 1-on-1 versus Hanzo. Well, it's not a 1-on-1 since he gets healed by Mercy, which is unfortunate. But this again, team fight is over. It doesn't matter if you win or die. We are close to next MP, so that's just a filler. Not our main strategy, this attack on Hanzo, is just to fill the void. We had nothing better to do. We had no risk since teamfight was lost anyway. Again, 2 dead. We can just die with them, get our MP ready. This Hanzo is really clearing up the competition, as our Ryan really refuses to take up any space, and leaving him to snap our entire team without consequences. We even have a hard time to walk past this. Man, I have 0 gaps to walk through. Just taking the both heals out of the fight is enough for us in this instance. We should be able to clear this Echo as she has no cooldowns left. Hope we will get healed, we will not get healed. Hack the Sigma, of course. Just want to hack a health spec, but Sigma, of course, has more value. I would also like to hack the Hawk, but I just don't have the cooldown available. We try to drop in with a hack. If you don't get healed, we will die here. Again, clap up. Hack the ball. Charge MP on ball. And die on dragon. Okay, good tech round. Well, not really. So, but no, I mean, not really from we didn't push through. But it was a good attack round. We learned our lessons. We were too aggressive for this Ryan, so we thought he was in position to push, but he wasn't. So we just need to learn. Okay, this Ryan needs a little bit more time to set up, and we need to give him a little bit more time next time before we actually engage. And this is something you really need to adapt every single game. Adapt to the speed of your tank. Your whatever DPS you play, your speed when you attack, your timing is focused on the main tank. The complete team watches when is your timing with your main tank. Of course, it's more visible if you have a Winston jumping in, a ball jumping in. It's less visible if you have like a Zarya Roadhog combo, but of course with Zarya Roadhog, your timing is when your Hawk is exposed for hook, that's when you get in. Mostly. Because the enemies want to punish the Hawk for hooking, so you punish the backline for the enemy team not watching that at all. So our target is the enemy Anna or Mercy. And we just delay the time as our Ryan is dead. We want to have them push as slow as possible. Have people look to the back. And just try to divert the attention. Exit. Echo, she was too far forward. We can punish her for that one. Hawk has no hook, so we can peek again and dodge the Hanzo shots. And we have a little bit of space to attack the backline, which we want to do. It's not much. But we just want to use this little bit of space to distract healers if we can. I was too scared. This was bad. I shouldn't be as scared without enemies forcing me to be scared, as no one was shooting me actually yet. Ryan was one, no point hacking him. We take this this payload as cover. I want to attack the Anna, but instead I found the Hawk, which is unfortunate. But again, my timing was good, so I learned what I wanted to learn. I could have ported to high ground, which I should have done instead. It would have been a better assassination attempt and a safer assassination attempt. Because of course you can always drop down from high ground, but you cannot drop up. Unless you have some kind of funky magic going on. This is a translocator I don't like too much, but it allows you a different angle, which is sometimes all you want. And as our team is not attacking, we are just camping. Enemies are not watching this angle, they go somewhere else. So we switch the angle up again. Are you kidding me? Why am I so bad? Can go in with MP. Need to be careful, we nearly walked into a Hanzo shot. Rehack if we can, we cannot. No! Yes! I think she still has rest, so we try to deny the rest. Don't have much space to dodge the Hawk. We just hope we took enough attention from the enemy team by being nimble, fast, porting up, not focusing on damaging, because you cannot kill them anyway, you don't have the damage as Sombra. But you just need to, in such situations where your team is coming back from spawn, you just need to play for time. And for this you just need to take... team fight is lost, we can go out. We don't want to get snowballed. We will get snowballed because we suck, sadly. Of course, jumping the arc down was just wasn't the play. I should have decided what my plan was and went to the plan. You see, my team is now 5 on 6 and they die for my mistakes. Learn from my mistakes. Don't do that. Really try to orient your timing with your main tank as a stage 2 learning process. We're in the translocator, we don't need it now. We just go to payload, try to stagger it a little bit. If you would have not stuck too much, I would have set up there on high ground. They have heard it, so we need to... No! Okay. Oh, the stupid sonic arrow. But still, we are scaring the Echo a little bit away. And we run straight into Roadhog, which is unfortunate. Keep fighting for this high ground. Lose the point right away. Nothing we can do, as we cannot manage to find any opening in the enemies at all. Like everywhere we peek, they have already set up the Hawk or Echo, and we just keep running into them. So we go for assassinate clip of the Anna, forcing them to go back, giving my team more space to actually regroup. This is really weird. I go for a desperation EMP since the tanks were alone on the right side, but they are still not. Yeah, we are just getting owned here. But this has not too much to do with what we play as Sombra. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's how it goes. GG. This is stage 2 learning. Now for stage 3, which is the hardest stage, and but it's actually how Sombra should be played, how Sombra is designed to be played. But this is something you cannot do with lower levels of teams. You need team play, you need communication, you need teams that understand positioning, timing, group play, all these fancy words. And this is mainly for masters, maybe high diamond and above. And this playstyle revolves around your team being able to kite back, because you are playing Sombra, you are weaker than the enemy DPS, you do less damage, you cannot shield break, and you just play for time until you get EMP, which is one of the strongest, or the strongest ult in the game in Overwatch 1. And you just play for this teamfight wins with your ult. And your team is not allowed to just go in without any advantage. They are only allowed to kind of take some position, some more or less passive position, and just allow you to charge your EMP. And then you go in and kill stuff with your EMP and your team. And this, of course, requires a lot of team play, a really high gameplay, a lot higher than I'm currently now ranked. I mean, I was playing Sombra in Masters when I was one-tricking Sombra, but now I'm training Edge, and now I'm really floating between Gold and Diamond. So basically hitting both spectrums with Edge, depending on what I'm currently training. But of course, for Sombra, it means you can only play Sombra if you have targets that allow you to charge your EMP very fast. You need to aim for a 60-second EMP charge. Okay, a very, very fast charge. You need to be as efficient as possible. Know your targets. You're not allowed to die or take risks while charging your EMP, because dying, of course, delays your charge by 20 seconds, which is a third of it already. So you need kind of near perfect game sense to not int. You cannot take 1-on-1s. You cannot take 1 versus 2s. You cannot let the enemies find translocator. All those things. You need to charge EMP very fast. And then you need to have perfect EMPs every single engagement. And so you need to time your EMPs perfectly with your tanks. You need to know how to drop your EMPs without enemies hooking you, flashing you, or sleeping you out of the sky, or using translocate. You need to understand which targets you need to EMP, how many you need to kill. Should you go for the kill on Zenyatta alone, or should you hit 2 or 3 targets, or should you hit rather the enemy front line with your EMP? All these things is what's training next. So we had first stage, just training the 1-on-1s, what you can kill, where you can set up, where the health packs are. Stage 2, using this timing to punish enemies that are alone, but if they are not punishable because they have learned their lesson, then you go for more team-oriented play, where you go timing with your tanks, timing with your team, and enable plays with your hacks and your distractions. And now we have stage 3, where you take the skills from stage 1 to charge EMP fast. You take your skills from stage 2 to teamfight and understand when your team is fighting and when you're kiting back and when you're charging your ult. And in stage 3, you learn really how to drop your perfect EMPs. You need the perfect game sense to know when enemies push your translocator. You need to understand where teamfights are happening. They are not scattered around as in stage 1 anymore. They are more teamfights and not team deathmatches anymore. And all the skills, we will still try to show it, but this is a lower level game where it's not working perfectly. I will still try to highlight some of the thought process. This is more of a theoretical analysis, how I have played as I have played in Masters. I'm not in Masters anymore, so I cannot show it practically. I can only show it theoretically. So, welcome for round 3. As already explained, I will mostly explain which targets are good to charge your ult, how to do it with your team, or how your team can enable you to charge your ult. Of course, in a situation where this would be relevant, your team would not push to point without having any form of advantage. They would just rotate around and poke the enemies until an opening arises, like someone is out of position and gets punished, or you get an ult advantage, or you gain any form of advantage. As soon as your team gets a disadvantage, your team would fall back and regroup, and this will not happen in this game. So this will be a little bit different from when you should apply it, for this should apply, but I will still want to go through which targets are good to farm, how to farm them, what are some tricks, how to get your EP without the enemy seeing you. And this is mostly Translocate from behind. If you're from front, bait your Transcendence by throwing a Translocator first. This trick you should know already. And this is also be visible and drop from high ground, for example, so you don't make any noise while voice blinding. So this Moira would have been dead already in the situations I'm talking about. Oh, this Doomfist owned me hardcore. That was really bad. Of course, this team is perfect for you to set this up, and this is one type of team now we can press tab, where you see that Sombra can get an easy time, since like this, like ball, beam him. Do the same again with Doomfist. I don't have time to take this health pack. We are safe from this side, we can just shoot stuff as we run into the Zenyatta, and we have our ult. Not exactly the perfect timing. This EP would have not worked on a higher level, I tell you this right away. Oh man. This EP would not have worked on a higher level because I was frontlining. They would have hooked me right out of the sky, but for this level it's enough. So what would have happened on a higher level is your team would have pushed onto point. You could have waited for your team to push on point, and you could rely on them not dying for that. But since we have our ult charge, top has no... You cannot allow to die to Doomfist. He does one mistake, which we can punish. With her abilities, he was too greedy, going in too aggressive, trying to get our hacks. We find an angle where we can shoot the top. We are greedy. Next is the Hawk. Oh, we fail that one. Man takes the turret so we can continue shooting. Bait the Doomfist with the Translocator. Also will not work on higher level. It works with this Doomfist. Now we have a Zen, we can just walk with our team and keep shooting. They cannot punish us. Just being on an off angle to the shield. Shooting shields is not optimal, but it's very safe. Like the Doomfist, again easy charge, but he managed to go to high ground. If you follow, we should be dead. They use Translocator, which means we can drop EP here, like this, just drop behind them. We wasted 2 more ults on a completely one fight, will not happen higher levels, we do not care. Doomfist suiciding one more time, doesn't matter. A Mei can be good to charge, because he cannot punish us easily. And of course I like this Translocator position a lot. Okay. Soldier nice as our ult charge. Set up again on off angle on the side. They don't have the range to punish us easily. Doomfist is now setting up to get into us with his abilities, which means he's not setting up to destroy the Translocator. So easy value. Now this is risky. And we get punished for it. If you don't get healed, we die. We can punish the Reinhardt for not having his shield up. And Doofus again playing only around, finding our Translocator and punishing us. Take ults as they come in. And use your team as it goes in. Again, this team's positioning is not optimal, but it's workable. Another Translocator spot I like is this wall. This is a very nice wall. If they do not see it, Hex MA for no reason. They actually used her abilities already. So this is kind of easy round because they gave me easy targets. And so if you press tab, you need to identify what targets are easy to farm your ult. Mei, Baptiste, Doomfist, Hammond, partially Roadhog because he has a 25 delay, partially Ryan, partially D.Va because all these characters have armor, but they have a big size so you can hit a lot of your shots. Torbjorn, when he doesn't have his E ability, is a good target. So you just need to test out which targets you can really get your ult as fast as possible. Try to really watch your replays, think, oh, could I have here 1 second more uptime? Did I really need to port out that soon? Could I have my Translocator 1 meter closer to the fight? Could I have been on high ground and shooting down on headshots? Could I have used here my Ryan Shield or Zari Bubble or Mercy Healing or whatever resource you can get to stay a little bit longer in fight, get a little bit more ult charge? Could you abuse enemy cooldowns more? Like ulting Moira cannot fade, so you just use her to charge your ult. And all such things. We go for a very aggressive Translocator. Some things you should not do, so look away. If you're faint of heart. This is one thing you do not want to actually do. But we will do it anyway. And honestly, I usually do not start here on the center. I will not start here on the center. I will start on the side. This was really unforeseen. Then you paid my life for it. I'm dead. An easy end hack, she's scared now. And we are throwing the game right now. As enemies can do what they want unpunished. But luckily they are kiting back, wasting the time here in the back. Which gives us easier time on the front line, but my team still dies of course. So I do not gain much from it. And I'm dead. A little bit too slow on the Translocator, I needed to have it set up earlier, but I say my team is dead, so this is starting was trash, didn't work. And sometimes you can just run up to them and farm them from behind, but sometimes you can't. Oh man. Yeah, I'm trolling. Don't do this at home, guys. Oh man, why am I so bad? Wasn't sure if she has your bubble yet or not. We have Doomfist on high ground, which I'm scared of. I have no idea what Doomfist is, which makes you double scared. Again, stuck somewhere on the map and couldn't move. Man, this is really not going to plan. Yeah, I'm really rusty on Sombra abilities right now, so it's really bad to show. You see, my first MP is now on 2nd point. Like, this is so terribly bad. I want to go back to bronze. Okay, but either way, we want to go to high ground. We fail even that one. Teamfight is 1. Don't use EMP on a 1 teamfight. It's a waste. We heard the Doomfist as he went in. So we can just keep our advantage. We can go to the tank and just set up the next EMP, which means we just wait here. And drop in, as my team could go in. Like the Doomfist. Easy targets to shoot at are this Mercy. Who should go for a rest? She does, and we can punish her for it. Yeah, but my team still loses. By crying to get more charge. We have no hack and Doom is near, so we are scared for life. And we should be dead, but Doom is a noob. Again, hack Anna, so we not get slapped. And try to farm ult from this Mei. Don't be afraid to run forward. The enemies allow you to. Now we need to get out. We got 2 hits. Doofus knows about this spot, which makes it very risky. But again, farming ult. Easy targets to shoot. Zara no bubble, easy charge. And we go for MP. So just so we can farm it again. We get punished for it because we drop into an unlucky fire strike right as we try to hack him. Yeah, well, we dropped in the center of him, so it was easy to aim for him. Doesn't matter. Okay, so 2:22 is when we start. Farm the next EMP. Use Translocator to be faster. Every second counts. Be as fast as possible. Be as efficient as possible. It's very important. Yeah, don't take time to hack this health pack. I want to get behind. Start farming. Start shooting stuff. You even go for Translocator behind them. Something hit us. It's risky now to stay, but we will do it anyway. And we are dead. Again, we expected them to be on main since stuff was going on main. But they have won the team fight without... They're both main tanks and top anyway. So they won 3 on 6. 3 versus 5. Not sure how this happened. Unlucky. We're dead. Team fight lost. Farm ult on Ryan as he has no shield. When tanks lose their shield, they are perfect for farming. Same goes for Torbjorn. Hex the Doomfist. How the hell did they manage to place my Translocator up there? Oh, this is turret. Terrible situation. Yeah, Doom is clutching damage over the time, and of course Torp gets us right as we get invisible. But we are... It's still 2 minutes, so we just wasted 15 seconds. You know, of course it's because of point reset. Oh, charge rate is terrible since we keep dying and inting like idiots. Doom goes in with an ult, which means we get a hack opportunity together with Ryan. And farm off MP of Ryan, go in with Translocator MP, as they have used many of their abilities and can punish us as easily. Like the top for no reason. So if you knew the top... Throw the Translocator in the spawn since they are not dying. Doom is actually catching onto us, it's really interesting. But we can just ignore him. As the teamfight is still lost. This is insane. Get a hack of a Doomfist, but do not manage to kill him. As this shotgun, of course, close range still does a lot of damage. But we got our next EMP. Timing wasn't too bad considering the circumstances this time. We don't use EMP now. If we think we win this fight without, we bet on the... Now we use it. Take out the turret, man. How are we getting dominated so hard here? While being next to our spawn. Really interesting. Of course, as enemies have number advantage on the spawn, which means we spawn slower and they can fully abuse it. Okay. So let's just wait until we see 9. Lucy would have been better hack targets, I understand that. But it's not so important. Hack whatever. And we win this while still being bad, just because they kept feeding with Doomfist. Doomfist is a lot better player than I am, but I'm countering him so hard that I still win. A little bit unfortunate for the Doomfist. He got countered by Kree and Zarya and Sombra, and still nearly won. A really good Doom player. Really respect to him, to this guy. He played really good. Of course, if he would have played anything else, he would have probably won the game with this amount of skill. But that's how it is. GG. So again, just to stress out again my points. Charge your ult as fast as possible. Really, this is the one metric you want to improve watching your replays. How fast can you charge your ult? And then when you have ult, you stop doing that completely. You only focus on going in with your team, with your EMP, blasting them off the map with EMP. And again, need to identify which are easy targets to charge your ult from. Really watch your replays with a stop time, with a time, and just really count in milliseconds. How many milliseconds did you need to get 10% ult charge from this target? How much ult charge did you get per translocator rotation? Like really try to optimize getting your ult as fast as possible for this stage 3 high level of gameplay if you are masters or above. So I understand that this is a very brief explanation of how Sombra can be played, and there is a lot more that can be said, especially for dive compositions or playing anti-dive. And of course the very famous examples of how to play Sombra versus Doomfist, how to play Sombra versus Ball, or even both of them, where you just sit in your team and just hack them when they come close. And these types of play of course have nothing to do basically with the topics I just said. There are just certain characters inside the game that enable one playstyle more than the other. For example, if they have a Zenyatta in the backline that's soloing a lot, you can always play for the assassination playstyle. Even on higher levels, you should be able to take out a Zenyatta. Or how to play Sombra versus Pharaoh is another example. It's a hit scan. Someone can hack Pharaoh out of the sky. You of course have some options to how to play against Pharaoh. And but all these individual plays, I kind of expected that you learn during stage 1, when you actually try to figure out what can you kill, what can you not kill, what I expected to be able to kill. And then you will find out, okay, so maybe you can actually hack a Tracer or a Genji and just waste your time, don't even need to kill them, and they just become useless whenever they come close. That's maybe fine. Or maybe you find out that you're very good at assassinating, I don't know, soldiers from high ground after they use their abilities. And all the things you will find out just by playing Sombra, I suppose. And of course, also for combination with playing with the team, of course, there are also very famous examples like Hack Shatter, which is not really covered, or like EMP and Kree ult. They can be used together to just get huge values. But in general, I advise to train to get a teamfight win out of your EMP alone. Of course, training EMP itself is also not covered in this series. But I don't want to make it longer than it actually already is. So of course, for in-depth or detailed explanations, you would need to view detailed guides and not a general overview. But with that out of the way, we will see you again in the next video, in part 3, when we will discuss how Sombra is now played in Overwatch 2, where we will try out several different variations of playstyles that you can just do, or like training things that you can do in just to train what works, what doesn't work. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and yeah, have a nice day. Bye bye.